I walked along under branches lit up by the moon, posing our questions to Owl and Eeyore as our days disappeared all too soon. But I've wandered much further today than I should, and I can't seem to find my way back from the wood. So help me if you can. I gotta get back to the house at Pooh Corner by one. Hey, Madara's here. Gabe is in. You want it? Yes. And Gabe Newell is in. TNT Plays, Iron Fury, Aaron Adams. I am a weeb. Yo. Ow. What the hell? I just managed to hurt myself. What the hell is that? Oh, my nail split. What the hell? I just discovered this. Hey, Lachlan, this is going to be painful as we go here. What the hell happened? Like a hunk split off my fingernail. I'm sure you guys are wildly fascinated by that, right? Oh, that looks like that shit gonna hurt. I don't even think I can. I don't have anything to pop it off with. Pop it off. Well, I do, but it's on Pornhub. God damn. All right, I got a knife. I'm gonna do surgery now. I'm gonna do some surgery on my hand right in front of you guys. There is a good chance that I could hurt myself really bad and bleed a lot, so this could be cool. All right. Pull that there. All right. How sharp is this knife? Not very. Yeah, there's a good chance of severe pain here. I'm gonna hurt myself. Uh, yeah. As soon as I get done hurting myself here, Dean, I'll uh, I'll go into more what I've been thinking about that series. You guys had been talking to me about the Dark Side of the Ring series. Well, that thing ain't working. What else do I have in here? This is like one of those little catch-all knives. Got a little bit of everything. Nothing I need though. Will a can opener help? I don't think so. Scissors. Scissors are gonna do it. I got scissors in this thing. Iron Fury. He's hardcore. Okay. Look at. I got these. I got this thing jutting out on my finger here. I don't even know if you can see that. The nail split, so I'm going to use these high-tech scissors to cut it, and probably myself as well. I'll cut a little bit of it off. The nail, not my finger so far. Is this the most fascinating live stream you guys have ever seen? Come on, tell the truth. There, I got it. Wow, that worked. My little knife helper there. Dun, 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 dun. If Curtis can be a doctor, anyone can. Let's all make money. Very true. And my first surgery was pretty much successful. There's a little bit of that sliver of the nail hanging left, but overall, I would give it on the success scale 4 out of 10, which is which I will take from my doctor at any point. Looks like we didn't get a lot of notifications out today, guys. We all know that's a day-to-day thing. The last time we had this where the notifications were slow, we had a big number of people coming into the video once it posted saying that they got the notification the next fucking day. But Susan will tell you, we got them out there. But now last night in that series, I watched the New Jack episode of Dark Side of the Ring. I already had my views on New Jack, and I told you guys basically what I thought, and it didn't do much to change that. I will say there were some elements of the story that I didn't know, as long as New Jack is telling the truth. Fuck off, Train. But my big issue with New Jack always was that he would go into business for himself, and I just don't think that's right. I mean, you still got to you can be a badass all you want or whatever, but you got to have respect for the other guys in there with you. And New Jack didn't always do that. Now, I did not know about the mass transit incident, what New Jack said, and what he said, I think he was telling the truth, that this fucking kid came up to him beforehand and was concerned about what offense he was going to get in. And he was telling New Jack, now New Jack, somebody in the business for years and years, had worked hard to create his own legacy. And then he got this kid who was purporting to be 21, was actually 17, had wrestled in a couple of backyards, was telling him about the offense he wanted to get in. Yes, he deserved to get the shit kicked out of him for that. no question. But he didn't necessarily deserve to get 50 stitches in his forehead. That's just over the top. It's too much. And I don't care who you are. You have to respect the business, have to respect the promoter you're working for, everything. It's just disrespectful all the way down. What New Jack should have done is jacked him up. What most guys would have done, potato him. Close his eye, close both his eyes with a couple of punches, but not slice him to 50 stitches. I mean, come on. Yeah, Jurassic says New Jack isn't a safe worker and is a bit psycho. And again, there's not a lot of place for that in the business. The hardcore stuff, that's great. I mean, I love what ECW did. You guys know that was my thing, was hardcore style wrestling. But you still can do the crazy shit and do your best to take care of one another. As a matter of fact, that is the backbone of doing the crazy shit, is while you're doing it, trying to make sure that you're taking care of each other. And, that slicing somebody open to the tune of 50 stitches. The guy he stabbed, of course, again, over the top. Should the guy look like the guy was shooting on him, on New Jack? It was when he got him in the corner, the camera was a long way off, but it looked like those punches were stiff. Do I agree with stabbing him 9 times for it? No. Fucking, it's a shoot, fight. Do what you got to do. But stabbing, yeah, you don't have. It has no place in the business. And what he did to Gypsy Joe was just ridiculous. That Gypsy Joe gimmick was dumb, fucking stupid to begin with. When you look like that and you weigh 170 pounds or something, and your gimmick is that you can't feel pain, he deserves a bit of a beating. But again, that's within the confines of the work. So stiff him a few times, and if he tries to. And tell before the match begins, listen, I don't play this no-sell shit. So you can either work with me and we'll sell each other stuff, or we'll go out there and shoot. But you don't do what he did there. I don't know. Iron Fury says, I think the kid said he'd never bladed before and wanted Jack to cut him for him. Of course, New Jack, being hopped up on coke, was all right, I'll murder him good. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, Fury. Even if the kid said that, okay, that's legit. But that's still part, regardless of how inexperienced the kid was, as you're alluding to, that's still part of the nature of the respect of the game. If I'm willing to say to you, okay, we're going to color tonight, color me up, I'm putting my safety in your hands, saying that you know how to do it without causing me permanent damage and a trip to the hospital for 50 stitches. That's the problem. And that's right, Smog. And he said it himself, which we all knew he was coked up all the time. It's legendary in the business. But that doesn't excuse what you did. You're the one who was snorting the coke, so nobody forced you to do it. What you do as a result of it, I think it's kind of bullshit, to be honest with you, that he got away with it the way that he did. Just like the stabbing, the guy refused to press charges because he thought he was going to bring him along for the ride. And it tells you that guy's a fucking idiot too. The Moolah episode. I haven't seen the Moolah episode, Maz. And to be honest with you, considering she's from my day, I don't have a lot of personal knowledge of Moolah. Like with New Jack and several of the others, even though I haven't met them, you get firsthand accounts from people, because I've worked with lots of guys who work with New Jack, and most of the other guys they've done stories on. But Moolah, I really don't know much about. I'll be interested to see what the deal is with hers, because I really don't know about that. The Brawl for All was stupid, Jurassic. The Brawl for All was as dumb as everybody in the special about it said it was. Yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't a good idea. It's taking guys, whenever you take guys that dramatically out of their element, you're just asking for guys to get hurt. And so it's unfortunate what happened to, especially, Dr. Death, Steve Williams. He was at the end of his career anyway. But it's unfortunate that his career faded out like it was, because he was a legitimate tough guy. But when you're throwing guys in there, again, in unfamiliar surroundings, there's always the chance of shit happening, like him blowing out his knee or something like that. It's just not worth it. And then it's like, oh, he wasn't as tough as we thought he was. Well, yeah, he was. But there's a lot of tough guys in the business. And again, on this night, things didn't go his way. So it was just set up to be, it was set up to fail, to be a fail for everybody involved. Iron Fury says Brawl for All was just Vince Russo being petty as hell. That's true too. In fact, it's pretty much one big pointless story after another. Yeah, or pettiness after another story after another. That's the history of Vince Russo. You can't. It's hard to blame him for wanting to see JBL get the shit kicked out of him, but there are other ways that could have been facilitated other than ruining guys' careers. Yeah. How long was my in-ring career? Well, Mintman, I first broke in 81. It was 81 when I first went up. I lived in New Mexico in Roswell, and I went up to get trained in Albuquerque. And then I went over to Texas to see about working with Joe Blanchard's crew, the big time. And it was there that I discovered that to be a professional wrestler, you had to be on the road 300 days a year. And I was too much about family to do that. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll just do my own thing and stay in the independents. And so that's what I did. So you had stretches where there wasn't much indie work going on. But overall, I first broke in 81, and my last match, I think, was 2015. If that does end up being my absolute last match, we'll see. Hey, Saw. Yeah, exactly. Iron Fury says, who doesn't want to see JBL get the shit kicked out of him? True. Maz says, also, Jim Cornette claimed afterwards the whole screwing Bradshaw over reason Russo claimed was bullshit. Bradshaw apparently was not in a position to be a bully back then. Could be. The thing there, Maz, is when you get into those he said, she says, and you're dealing with guys that both tend to exaggerate things a bit. It's hard to say who's telling the truth. From what I know of Bradshaw's reputation, he's always been a bully, though. Even before he probably had the chops in the business to allow himself to be. So it's not hard for me to believe that that's why Russo did it. But my thing, again, with you guys know how I hate the idea, the very concept of bullies anyway. If Bradshaw saw himself, as I've always said, if he saw himself as such a fucking tough guy, then instead of bullying people and shoving people around and stiffing local talent in the ring, he worked for years side by side with Meng. Why not go up in the locker room? Because word's going to get around. Go up to Meng in the locker room and say, hey, I'm the boss. I'm the badass in here. Fucking sit down, son. He wouldn't have said that because Meng would have fucking killed him. And JBL knows he would have fucking killed him right on the spot. So that's why he's nothing more than a pussy-ass bully. Because if you're going to carry that demeanor, but you're not going to carry it to everybody, you're just going to pick and choose who you're going to try and physically dominate, then you're a puss. Lude says, from what I know of YouTube's reputation, I don't think I'll get another notification ever again. It's so bizarre, Lude. This week has really pointed out how fucking weird and useless the notification system is. Because we've had several days where it was like, bam, immediately in the first minute, we got 60, 70 people here. The notifications are going out. Then we had days, well, we're at 13 minutes now, and we got 37 people here. But we had a day earlier this week, what was it? We're at the 12-minute mark and had like a dozen. Nobody got them. And that's the day that everybody was telling me in the comments section that they got the notification the next day about the stream. So, yeah, Iron Fury says, to quote Arn Anderson, Meng could kill a state if he wanted to. No doubt. No doubt. And that's why you never heard about Meng bullying anybody, because he's a legitimate tough guy and he didn't need to bully anybody. And I know a bunch of guys who have worked him, and guys who have worked him, and this is indie guys, unlike Bradshaw, who thinks it's funny to like try and kick out their kidneys. Meng's the nicest guy you ever wanted to work with. Always wanted to make sure that no matter who you were, you got some of your own shit in and everything. Took good care of you because he was a tough guy. Bradshaw wanted to be a tough guy. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of quotes about Meng. What was it? Jake the Snake said something along the lines of, if he had a gun with one bullet and Meng was charging at him, he'd shoot himself. Because I'm afraid shooting him would only piss him off more. You didn't get one either, Speedwagon? Yeah, it's just absolute garbage. Fucking ridiculous, the notification system. Yeah, I did Boxscape. As a matter of fact, I've been a wrestling fan and a boxing fan from the time I was a little kid. But before I had actually broke into wrestling, I used to box amateur out in California in the what they called the Cal Pal leagues, the California Police Athletic League. I used to box out there, and then used to do some underground boxing up in Sacramento. No, come on, Waterground. Are you being serious? I accidentally shot myself yesterday while cleaning my shotgun because I didn't check the chamber. Now I got a deformed foot. For real? That sucks. Eddie Guerrero is your all-time favorite? Yeah, Mint Man, I'll tell you, you talk about guys and their reputation and the way they presented themselves to the independent guys and guys that didn't have the stature in the business. You won't find anybody that was a greater dude than Eddie Guerrero. Was always so giving with his time and whatever he could do to help somebody out. If you had respect for the business and you wanted to get ahead, Eddie Guerrero, he was the man. He would just spend all the time, excessive amounts of time, working with young guys and trying to help them out. Johnny says, "Can Susan put down her vibrator and send me notifications one time? God damn it!" Yeah, it's bad, Johnny. It's gotten ridiculous now. Benoit's documentary I haven't seen all of yet, Igor. I started it and then I got interrupted and then I didn't get back to it. But that'll be one of the next ones. What I do is, if I can get my ass to bed in a reasonable enough time that I have at least a few hours to sleep, a lot of times I'll just quick cast my phone to the TV and watch an episode before I fall asleep. So I want to catch up on the Benoit one. I've only seen a couple of them so far, but I'm enjoying the way they're put together. Jesus Christ, Waterground, that's terrible. That's awful. Hopefully you're going to be everything worked out all right. My favorite Steamboat was universally loved by his peers. Yeah, Ricky Steamboat. Yeah, absolutely, Johnny. Another guy with an impeccable reputation in the business. Everybody liked working with him. Everybody liked being around him. Just a good guy. The Benoit doc, Iron Fury says, should really have been called Benoit Guerrero because they really go into both. Well, those guys were so tight. That's not surprising. And both with, tragic ends. Yeah, that's not surprising. Igor says you should really react to the 10 Tales from Wrestler's Court video by What Culture Wrestling. It's about a real-life backstage trial where punished wrestlers are put on trial. I've heard a lot about different organizations having Wrestler's Court. I've worked for a couple that had something similar to that. It wasn't as formal as a court, but when there was a beef that, the roster would get together as a whole and straighten things out. So I there's been a number, from what I hear, a number of promotions that have had those. Dragon Sphere says, bullies are the most craven people. Agree. They take their feelings out on others because they don't have the guts to take care of their own problems. Scum of the earth. Yeah, I have no use for bullies whatsoever. Hey, Chrome. Good to see you. Yeah, no notifications to speak of, Chrome. We're just talking about that same thing. It's just ridiculous. After all these years and they still can't get it right. Howard Finkel was cool, Sean. I liked Howard Finkel. He was the prototypical ring announcer. I mean, he was the absolute prototype. If you wanted to create an anime character that was a ring announcer, Howard Finkel. Rey Mysterio and Kane, class acts, yes. Kane, I know, know a lot of people that knew Glenn Jacobs or know Glenn Jacobs. Everybody has good things to say about him. No, I haven't seen RDC World's newest vids, Neku. I don't know when I'm going to get to them. Everybody's enjoying, and I'm enjoying being able to share anime stuff with you guys at the channel. I got to figure a way to get in Devil Artemis, RDC World, Brandon, all that other stuff too. Yeah, I agree, Iron Fury. Yeah, he was a great ring announcer. Moneymore says, fuck the police. Igor says, I'm really pissed that Rusev was released. The guy offered $25K of his salary to pay the backstage crew. I did hear that. How does WWE repay his kindness? They kick him to the curb. Yeah. I was kind of surprised to see him go. I think he was underutilized too. I just don't, people can say, oh, well, he wasn't getting over. Well, the writing they were doing for him sucked. The gimmicks they were getting, the whole romantic triangle things is so overblown. Rusev is good enough on the mic and certainly a good enough worker. He didn't need a romantic triangle angle. And I think that actually hurt him. Maya says the Brody episode, I'm looking forward to that one, was the toughest to watch for me. Tony telling the story was fucking rough. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I know Tony does. I know Tony. I've worked with Tony on a number of occasions. I've wrestled him, worked on shows with him, and I know he doesn't even like talking about it. Yeah, Tony's a good guy. Tony Atlas is another one. Just caring guy, good guy, great guy to work with. Little frustrating to work with because I want to say this gently. He's not a Rhodes Scholar, and he has a lot of difficulty just remembering, even more so than me, just remembering the simple points of a match. So it was difficult that you had to remind him all the way through, over and over and over, what we were doing. Alliance Points says thank Trump for this. Well, thanks, pal, and thanks Donald. I assume you got your stimulus. I was looking at it. I guess if they even do get it right and get mine to me, mine will be a while because obviously they don't have my deposit or my checking information because I don't get a refund. I pay them. So they don't have that on hand. So mine will be a mailed check. And I was going to go in. I mean, I'm fortunate in that this is what I do anyway. So I'm very fortunate to not really have been affected because I already worked at home. So that said, I don't really need it. But I thought, well, what the hell? I'll just go in and put in my bank account information so they can just direct deposit it. But their site, it doesn't work at all. Did you guys see that? The IRS site where you can go and check where your stimulus thing, your refund, or your stimulus check is completely broken. Has been from the time they started it, and from what I hear, still is to this moment. Big surprise the government couldn't run something right. Jim Ross has an incredible mind for the business. Agreed, Sean. Agreed. Real hardcore old school wrestling man. Yep, I agree. JR's podcast is hilarious. Everybody says that. I still haven't listened to it, Iron Fury. I'll have to catch a couple episodes at some point, especially when he gets so angry about things that ultimately don't matter. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. It's funny to listen to him rant, but yeah, he knows the business. Will I be streaming Monday, April 20th? I plan on it. 420. I plan on it, John. You know, I never know for sure what the hell's coming up my stairs. I never know for sure what might come up, what might happen, but I plan on it. Yeah, Chrome. What's with the U.S. government and fucking up websites? No lie, Chrome. I mean, look at. I'm sure that's what you're referring to when they rolled out Obamacare. That was an absolute mess because the website didn't work. Now they got these stimulus payments going out. Website doesn't work. It's not that complicated. You wouldn't think. Well, look at though. YouTube runs the biggest video platform in the world, one of the biggest search engines in the world, and they can't accomplish something as simple as insanely simple as sending out notifications, having a system that actually automatically sends out notifications when you go live with a stream or a video or something. How many years have they been working on that? And well, they say they're working on it and they can't do that. Man of the world, I'm here. Well, thanks, Harry. Igor says, hold on, so let me just catch Igor's. At least we know that Zack Ryder might end up in AEW. Cody said that he was interested in hiring since they've been close friends for years. Ryder has a lot of talent that WWE can see. I agree. I like Zack Ryder. I always enjoyed his matches. U.S. Alt says, stimulate us, Papa. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are, who would have ever thought I'd be in a position to have to thank the government for something? But thanks, you guys. I appreciate that. From Italy. Hope you're doing well, Diego. I know you guys got hit just brutally hard by good old COVID, so I hope you're doing well. Ma says the Snuka episode was a good one too, but still kind of on the fence for what happened there. No doubt Snuka had a partner death, but still a mystery to me. I haven't seen that one yet, but now I've told you guys before, as far as the old school WWE guys that I've worked with, Jimmy Snuka was my favorite. I love Jimmy. Great guy. I'll say this, getting to know him a little bit, I love the man, and I loved working matches with him and think he was a brilliant performer and truly a nice guy. But there was definitely an over the top, little bit of a dangerous edge to Jimmy Snuka. That's the best way to put it. Chrome says, "Oh, by the way, Curtis, if you want to put that 4Kids reaction up on YouTube as a DBS like reaction clip, go ahead. Spread the love of 4Kids. I swear you look so defeated in that vid at farts." Yeah, I'll look into that, Chrome. I might have to chop it up because it's got so much One Piece information on it, and the last thing I want to do, as we're being able to put, at least for now, anime reactions up against is get more negative attention. Let me look into it. Maybe if I slice it up a little bit more than I did for the Goosh, I might be able to do that. I'm doing good, Rough Side and Heavily Addicted to Coke, a bad combination. Yeah, Smog, definitely. And again, we all knew about, New Jack's penchants for nose candy. But again, to me, that doesn't excuse what he did, because nobody made you sit back there snorting Coke before you went out into the ring either. So imagine a 4Kids Hunter x Hunter the horror. No, I don't want to even think about that, Johnny. I'm having so much fun. I just posted, another Hunter x Hunter episode from the Goose that I posted over to the YouTube channel. God, it's so much fun just rewatching that again while I'm editing. I love that series. I really do. I love those characters. Everything. Same can be said for One Piece and several others as well. But boy, it does bring back to you that the music is so iconic to me. Maz says, the problem is that the story Snuka officially told held no water and kept changing, so we'll never know if it was assault that led to having some kind of brain bleed or plain murder. Who knows? Yeah. And I'll be interested to see that one, Maz. But again, Jimmy there was a real edge to him. A real edge to him. Sean, have you ever wrestled? Yeah, several WWE wrestlers. Because most of the guys, when their WWE days are done, or like with Eddie, he had gotten suspended for violation of the wellness policy. Whenever those things would happen, they'd come work the indies. So yeah, you got to work with a lot of those guys. Retro Mint Man says, I'm almost done with Hunter x Hunter. I'm probably on the last arc. The Chimera Ant arc of Hunter x Hunter is still the best individual arc I've seen in an anime. I absolutely love it. Excuse me. Jurassic Jr. says, WWE buries or over pushes people to the point that fans hate them, and that's why they have to use legends to draw money. Yeah, I agree with that, Jurassic, and that especially nowadays when you have the immediacy of reaction that you can have now with the internet and social media and everything, it surprises me that the WWE is so poor with their writing as far as reacting to what the people are saying about their characters. It's all out there. It's not hard to see what people are saying, and then it's not hard to see how many people are on board with what's being said, but they don't seem to make use of that information. Chrome says, God, I'd love for another season of Hunter x Hunter to be made already. You and me both. They have enough for a 12 to 24 episode season. The manga is just a wall of text at times, so it'd be more digestible. I would love it, Chrome. I just absolutely love that series. Jeez. Michael Cat says, what WWE legend do you wish were alive today for you to wrestle? Well, of course, for me, Michael, it's because I grew up a Sammartino fan. Bruno Sammartino was my hero. If you're talking more current, well, you said alive, so it would be the older crew. Yeah, it'd be Bruno. I would love to job out for Bruno Sammartino. Just to be in the ring with him would have been a dream come true for me. Let's see. Curtis, have you ever wrestled anyone who held WWE Championship before? Any former champion at all? Igor says. I don't know because I don't remember well what the guys held. I'll try and tell you guys I've wrestled were obviously, like I said, Tony Atlas, Jimmy Snuka, Sergeant Slaughter, and I know I'm going to forget guys. I was supposed to get to wrestle King Kong Bundy, and what sucked is that felt it was nobody's fault. He got bad weather held up his plane. So the night I was supposed to get to work him, I didn't get to wrestle him. I got to work on shows with him, but I didn't get to wrestle him. Let's see, who else did I wrestle? Tito Santana. So you guys, I'd have to go through them. Was WWE champ. I was just gonna say I could give you guys a name and you guys would be do a better job of remembering if they were title holders or not. Michael Kent says Bruno was fantastic as well as Andre. Yeah, those are the larger than life characters I would want to wrestle. Macho Man and have him cut a promo on me. Oh yeah, yeah. I agree, Michael. Yeah, I think that everybody, most any wrestler, anybody with a history in the ring, would put Andre on that list of man. I wish I coulda. Yeah, just to say you're in there with him with a legend like that. You know who? A lot of friends of mine got trained by and was a local legend I never got to meet and always wished I had was Killer Kowalski. Because a bunch of friends of mine went to his school outside of Boston there, and it just never worked out. And I used to work shows in that area all the time, but it never seemed like I was there when Kowalski was there. I really would have liked to have gotten to meet him. Let's see. Igor says, "Did you hear about Money in the Bank taking place at WWE's headquarters on their rooftop? I mean, how are they going to hang the briefcase with no ceiling?" Really? No, I didn't hear about that. Well, I guess that's pretty social distance if you're on the rooftop, anyway. But yeah, I don't. They're going to hang it from a copter or something. Sean says, "What made you want to become a pro wrestler?" Just a love of it from the time I was a little kid. I excuse me. I first discovered as far as passions in my life as a kid, the first three passions I had were the old Batman series, the one with Adam West, baseball, and wrestling. And I just loved wrestling from the time I was a kid. You know, when I was a little kid, my mom had extra. we lived way out in the country, so we had plenty of room. My mom had some extra clothesline rope, and I went out and found some stakes and put some stakes in the ground and wrapped the rope around the stakes. And I had my own little ring back there, and oh yeah, I loved it from the time I was little. And I've always told everybody, to have anything of a career in wrestling, you have to absolutely passionately adore it. Because if you don't, you'd never be willing to weather the pain that's involved every goddamn day in that business. Who are your top five favorite Dragon Ball characters? Like I say, Jose, right off the top of my head, I don't know. That's something. That's why when we do a top five list, I do them in streams here and have the gang pick for me because I'll forget people. The top five lists we did not come out how I thought they would, to a substantial margin, because I would have forgotten people or this, that, or the other. So I don't know, without having somebody there to help me remember all the characters, it wouldn't be a good list. Diamond Dog says, boxing used to be a poor person's sport. Was it the same for wrestling? Yes. Wrestling had long been known as a common man pastime. Blue collar. You know, played when you were barnstorming. You played a lot of really small towns and VFW halls and church basements, high school gyms, that type of stuff. Yes, always was known that way. Let's see. The match will start at the entrance of HQ, Igor says. Then the wrestlers will literally have to fight their way to the roof and retrieve the briefcase. I don't know if I should be scared or excited for it. Weird. At least I'll give them a little bit of credit on that, Igor. I like that type of creativity. We'll see how well it plays out once they do it. But I do like that, given the circumstances and the situation we're all currently in. I like that they're trying to get a little creative with it. I think that's cool. Baki the Grappler, Yosu, I know of that one. I would like to see that at some point. Again, what we watch is all goes up to votes over at the Goosh at our Patreon, and that's how we decide what we want. But yeah, I would like to see Baki someday. I'd like to see Hajime no Ippo as well. That almost did win a poll, though. I think it's going to be here soon. Iron Fury says, yeah, good point. It's how Dusty Rhodes got over. Common man, son of a plumber. Yep, that was his angle his whole career. Yep, and it worked really well. And Dusty was so good on the mic, and he was so different, than what people had seen before. Same with Ric Flair. Ric Flair's promos were things that nobody had ever seen before, and they really did deservedly usher in a golden age for wrestling. Chrome says, wonder if anyone will get thrown out a window. Could be interesting to see if they're not careful. Yeah, no shit, really, Chrome. Yeah, you wouldn't want to take a bad step in a in a hallway a couple stories up with a window on the staircase. Stormstar says, Curtis, have you ever read Bret Hart's book? Bret's, no, I haven't. Your thoughts? I personally felt Bret was a little bitter. Yeah, understandably, and took himself a little too seriously. Yeah, good sense of humor and a good read. Yeah, you basically outlined my take on Bret and the whole Montreal Screwjob thing. I like Bret Hart. Have huge amounts of respect for the whole Hart family. But I do think he was as wrong in the whole Montreal Screwjob thing as was Vince. The fact was, even though I do like Bret and don't like Shawn Michaels, Shawn was getting over. For whatever reason, Bret was not as over. It was time for that title to change hands. And I'm just not one for the whole, oh, well, not in front, it was classless to do it in front of my own hometown people. No, bullshit. It's about the business. You take care of the business first. Bret should have turned over the title to Shawn, and it wouldn't have had to go down that way. It was still snaky what Vince did, absolutely. But I still think Bret should have had enough respect for the business to say, okay, fine. You know what, Vince, fuck you. I'll put this guy over, and then I'm going to WCW. Saw says, are you going to watch both seasons of Code Geass in one go like you do with AOT? Yeah, well, what I do, Saw, on whatever gets voted in at the Goosh, I watch whatever is available to us. Well, actually, Geass didn't get voted in, but any series I watch over there, I watch whatever's available at the time. Yeah, because, again, it's different if you change the series entirely. Like, I didn't go from Shippuden to Boruto because it's an entirely different series, but when it's seasons of the same series, yeah, I stay with it. Ma says, speaking of Bret, hear about the drama around Jake Roberts saying that he thinks Bret and Shawn were shitty champs. No, I didn't even hear that. I can see the dude's point considering that period didn't draw, but meh. Yeah, I think I hadn't heard him saying that, Maz, but I'm with you. I don't necessarily think that's the fault of Bret and Shawn. There's a lot more that goes into how well the business does than just who the top guy is. I mean, it's still a lot of the responsibility of the creative behind them, because again, I don't really care for Shawn Michaels, but whether you like Shawn and or Bret or not, nobody can deny that they were phenomenal, crazy good workers, and they both had a lot of personality. So I don't think you can lay that on them. And what they got to remember too is, okay, whoever's at the top, Shawn or Bret, nobody in wrestling can pack a house by themselves. You still got to have competition that excites an audience. Stormstar. No, I have. We were just talking about that. I haven't watched the Fabulous Moolah one. I do want to see that one though, because Moolah's again a person that I don't have a lot of personal knowledge about, so I do want to see that one. Boruto even copies some moments from Naruto, says. Yikes. Oh, jeez. Stormstar says, also, didn't Jake say they were too small and that's why they drew so little? Didn't Kevin Nash draw even less and was 7 foot 300 pounds? Yeah. I didn't hear this whole thing from Jake, but yeah, that's bullshit. Being too little? No. And you couldn't even make if you wanted to try, if you were going to even try to make a too little case, they weren't that small. They weren't. Some people tried to make that case with Rey Mysterio, in his short title run, but no, that's bullshit. I don't believe that at all. It'd be like saying Mick Foley can't draw fans because he's too slow, too fat, whatever. No, you can be anything, any size in wrestling and still be a huge draw. Just depends on what you bring to the table as far as your in-ring ability and your charisma and your gimmick. I've heard this too, Mint Man. He says, I feel like Shawn is a much better person these days. My uncle got him to sign my brother's flat Stanley back in the day and even took a picture with it. Yeah, I've heard the same things, that he's chilled a lot. You know who it really actually kind of made me feel good, because it was personal experience. The first person I met in the business, because most all the guys I've met over my years in wrestling have been really cool, that I didn't like was Tully Blanchard, one of the original Four Horsemen. And as I said, I'd gone over to Texas to work with his dad's promotion, Joe Blanchard's, and Tully was an asshole. Straight out, there's no sugarcoating, a complete asshole. And didn't like him, didn't get along with him, and Never had any use for him because of that. But now I found I haven't, and it's too bad. I would like to run into him again someday. I've heard from several people because he was just here in upstate New York recently, doing a signing and everything with a bunch of the guys, and they said he's just 180 degrees different than he used to be. And what's even more telling is Tully's aware of that. They said Tully will tell you that, yeah, back in the day I was a complete dick. I'm embarrassed by the way I was. And I like, it's just cool to see that somebody had that type of self-awareness and the ability to look at themselves and improve themselves. I think that's cool. So it'd be cool if I could get to meet him again someday. Gimster says, I've been watching a YouTube channel lately that breaks down boxing. One of the legend matches broke down with all three Ali Frazier's. That's my wheelhouse. Gimster Frazier was my boy when I was a kid. He was my boxing hero. Those fights were, I don't think we'll ever see anything like that in combat sports again. It certainly, I think everybody will tell you that it not only shortened those fights, not only shortened their careers, it shortened their lives. What they put into those fights, just insane. I mean, I remember, what's his name, Ferdy Pacheco saying that I think it was the third fight. Ali was in his corner hallucinating. He was so exhausted and so beat up. He kept saying something about, I'm dying, and they're telling him, no, champ, what are you talking about? You're not dying. Yes, I am. And he was serious. He thought he was going to die. And then, of course, they had to hold Frazier in his corner after the 14th and throw in the towel because Frazier wanted to come out for more. And they legitimately thought he was going to die. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Those guys. Again, Frazier was my boy. So that, of course, back then, you have to remember, it was Frazier versus Ali. So that made Ali the enemy. But in retrospect, just two phenomenal athletes. And what fucking warriors. Ali doesn't get enough. And not even being an Ali fan, he doesn't get enough recognition for how tough a motherfucker he was. Because everybody knows about that brilliant jab, the footwork, and just the boxing skills that the heavyweight division had never seen before. But I saw Ernie Shavers punch him flat on in the face. And when Ernie Shavers hit you with all he had, you laid down. And Ali rolled with it. I saw Ken Norton break his jaw in the second round, and Ali fought the next 13 with his jaw dangling. That was a tough motherfucker right there, Muhammad Ali. Oof. Why do you stick with the name Curtis Kennedy? Ansel says, just because I like the character. Again, it was my gimmick character in wrestling, and I grew fond of the character. So whatever I do in entertainment, I stuck with that. You know, whether it's stand-up or doing hypnosis shows, or when I started the YouTube channel. You know, whatever I do entertainment-wise, I just use that name because, just like it. Ali Foreman, oh yeah, those were classic Speedwagon. They'll never be compared. I watch them over and over regularly. Of the old stuff I watch over and over the most, I'll tell you guys, would be and that's why I love YouTube. Ali Frazier fights, games, clips from the 1971 World Series, and Secretariat running in the 1973 Belmont. I watch all those things over and over and over and nerd out. Milak says, thanks for the invite, Susan. You cock juggling thunder cunt. It's bad, Milak. It was another one of those days today. I'm sure, if you guys watch, I'm sure when this video goes live to the channel, check it tomorrow. You'll see comments in here about people that got the notification 8 hours later, 10 hours later, the next day. It's just crazy. Foreman Ron Lyle, yep. Ron Lyle was a really decent boxer, but he lived in an era in the 70s which was the greatest time in heavyweight boxing history, and he got overshadowed. He was a skilled fighter. Mintman, have you been recognized in public since beginning YouTube? Yeah. You know, not all the time, fairly regularly. Like I was telling the gang the other day, it seems like when we're in more populated areas, when I'm down in New York City for things, it seems like you get recognized quite a bit. When I'm in Disney World, I've been recognized a few times. Although the most recent one was here locally. As a matter of fact, I was buying anime shit. It was either a Think Geek store or a Box Lunch store looking at anime stuff, and I saw this younger couple with a little one, and they're looking around the store, and I've always been just maybe because of the things I've experienced in life, I'm always kind of aware of my surroundings and stuff. It's a paranoia. And I see that he didn't look like a threat to me, but I see the guys looking at me a lot, and I can see them making reference to me. And it's like, okay, what the fuck is this about? So I'm just kind of keeping in my peripheral vision. And I was in line to check my stuff out, and he comes up, and the guy says, "Well, I didn't want to bother you," he says, "but you're Curtis Candy from Spaz Boys, right?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's all it is." I was like, "Yeah, good to meet you." And so I chatted with his wife and his kid, and it's always fun. I always tell people that because I get that a lot too. People say, "Oh, I saw you at place XYZ, and I didn't want to bother you. Look like you were busy." Listen, if you guys see me anywhere, I want you to come up to me. I like that. It's so much fun putting faces to the names and everything. So don't worry about what I'm doing. Even if you see me in the titty club and I'm getting a lap dance, I interrupt it. I'll throw the bitch off my lap. I don't care. My favorite boxer was Frazier. And the greatest fighter of all time? Ooh. I don't know. There's so many guys. You got Ali, you got Jack Johnson if you want to go way back. Joe Louis was absolutely fucking brilliant. Sugar Ray Leonard was a phenomenal fighter. Sugar Ray Robinson as well. I don't know how you pick one over the others. Just Curtis said, "Give me your money." You might actually do it. It's a good chance, Iron Fury. I might. If you see Curtis's strip club, you better buy him a lap dance. There you go, Smog. Now that's the quality. That's the quality advice. I live in upstate New York. Not too far from Albany. Was kind of haunting to realize that everyone from Harley Race to Dynamite Kid to Benoit, Maz says, whoever used the flying headbutt had some massive physical damage. Back problems, wheelchair, massive CTE. See, that move to me, as I've done moves similar to that, yeah, that's the back. Because if you land it right, it's not a lot of head trauma. But you land from so high, there's no way to not arc your spine too far the wrong way. That one always hurt my back, that dive. I can see that. Hold on, I thought. Chrome says, sad thing is at the moment people talking about going to stores and going out is nostalgic. Yeah, it is. Damn virus means I can't leave home already a month in. We got another 2 looks of it. Yeah. The only thing, Chrome, the only thing that gives a little hope is it's starting to look like, and they're doing more studies on it now, this might be on a downward trend almost, regardless of what people do from now on, because it's starting to sound like the people doing the study out in Stanford are saying it could be that 50 to 60 times more people have already had this virus than they realized. That it's that prevalent. Those who are completely asymptomatic or just get a mild cold, there's potentially way more of them than we know, which would be a good thing because obviously it means the death rate from it is much lower than we thought. And B, more importantly, is that means a lot of people have already come through it. So we would definitely be on the downside of the curve. And everything I've been reading, and I read on it like a madman, they aren't 100% sure, but all the leading egghead minds are saying that they think this is one of those. They have every reason to believe that this is one of those coronaviruses, and this is most of them are this way. That once you have it, you have antibodies and you won't re-get it. So let's hope that that's the case. But they're leaning that way, and they're saying very specifically in the stuff I've read, it's not a guarantee, but every indication we have so far is that it's the type that has the antibodies where you don't have a reinfection. Gimster says, if I were to see you out in public, I'd start a polite conversation about life and start to randomly fight you and go back to the conversation mid-fight. Well, that's the thing, Gimster. I'm so easily distracted. I would forget about the fight, and just go back to the conversation without even thinking twice about it. Johnny says, Mick Foley never gets enough credit for his toughness. Oh, he was great. I loved him. I love Mick Foley. I watched some AEW, Eli. even WWE, I don't catch a lot of, but I watch here and there. Basically, if I'm around the TV and either one of them are on, I'll watch it. Niall says, we're told to stay home, but I see more people outside than ever. Well, you know what I think it is more than anything else, Niall? It's just going to be, as we go out, it's going to be a new reality, obviously. I don't think, and this is just my opinion, I don't think we'll be in danger of a reinfection of the magnitude we had initially, only because you got to remember the initial infection came when we had no idea what this was or what to do. Now, even as people go back out, you know that people are going to be remaining more distant. Even though I'm old school and like those things, I'm a big fan of fuck handshaking. Let's just go with a nod towards one another. A nice happy smile and a nod towards each other. There's no reason for physical contact for a greeting. The Japanese, Asian countries in general, but the Japanese have been doing the bow forever. That's a good idea. People are going to be much more conscious about things going forward. So I don't think you will see any type of recurrence of the virus, anything like what we had the first time. Now, as people get back out there, you may see some numbers climb a bit, but I don't think it'll be extreme. Maz says, I got fed the fuck up with how our vocational school is handling corona, so I just started my learning on the job thing. Loving the drug rehab work and taking all the precautions. Yeah, and you're right, it's just so tough a situation for everybody, for all these kids too, whether high school or college, who aren't getting to walk the stage and everything. Yeah, it's rough. Biggest Green says, what about sexual contact? Well, hell, the thing with sexual contact, Big Green, we've known for years that's always been a risk reward factor anyway. You can go back to the clap and gonorrhea, syphilis, whatever the case may be, AIDS, and now this. So sex has always been a roll of the dice. Chrome says, hopefully this thing's going to have killed a ton of business after it's done as well, though, and that's what's scary. I really would like to see China curb stomp. Apparently the Chinese are blaming black people. Yeah, the Chinese are blaming everybody but the Chinese. Absolutely, Chrome. And that infuriates me as much as the fact that it's their abysmal practices that led to this in the first place. And now they're just bound and determined they're going to find a way that it wasn't their fault. Fuck them. Oh, geez. Val Venus again. Val Venus is a fucking idiot. Social distancing, tell the Val Venus. Dude is on Twitter saying that social distancing is bullshit. I guess he's trying to be relevant since he hasn't been, since the Attitude Era. That would be my guess too, Igor. He's looking for somebody to pay him a little bit of attention. Fuck Val Venus. He's always been a dipshit anyway. I do think, I'm hoping that they're going to find both those two things prove to be factual, that indeed 50 to 60 times as many people have had it than we thought did, and that once you have it, you have the antibodies. If those two things take place, we'll be getting out to whatever our new normal is in a relatively shorter period of time than we all would have thought, I believe. On pregnancies too, right, Smog? Yes, as our notifications were nothing again. Igor, by this point, the only Chinese person I like is Jackie Chan. Dutai says, I know you're a big family man. How do you feel about Benoit after watching? I haven't seen Benoit yet, but I mean, I obviously know what went on. I can't really say anything. I feel he died when Eddie did, and he had holes in his brain from those chair shots and diving. Yeah. See, I'm torn on that because I didn't live in Chris Benoit's shoes. However, having taken the amount of head trauma I have, and this predates even what Benoit did, you have to be an idiot to think that you can keep taking that type of cranial abuse and not have to at least think about the fact that you might be facing consequences someday. So my family is well aware that I put it out there that if you see XYZ type of patterns start to happen to me, with even if I'm not seeing it, with my emotions, anger, this, that, or the other, this is what needs to happen. Because I'm not leaving anything to chance. I know everybody can't do things the same way, but if there were any type of danger signs to Benoit, and he didn't have the decency to remove himself, that's where I have a real problem with it. But I can't speak for him. I don't know what went on in the guy's head. To Igor says, to be fair, Jackie Chan is the only Chinese person I know. Ma says, pisses me off that the state can use students as nurses with shit pay, but they do everything they can to nix our possibilities to learn the jobs we go to school for. Get someone else to wipe Corona asses. Yeah, no, you're right, Maz. This whole thing has created a lot of inequities and a lot of unfairness. Absolutely. Enzo says, "Hey Spaz, you know what's funny? Some wrestlers would wrestle their sex toys since they can't wrestle other people." Well, yeah, but I mean, in fairness, though, Enzo, as a former wrestler, I can tell you that those are not mutually exclusive. You can still have your wrestling career going wrestling the other boys and still wrestle your sex doll. I'm saying you could, hypothetically. Not saying I did. Not saying I didn't. Johnny says, "Fuck Val Penis." What a shit wrestler he was. I agree, Johnny, and he is. He's just a weird fucking dude. Ocho says, "Yeah, I agree. I also think a lot of people got it already without knowing it, and just cured it by themselves by having a strong immune system." Yeah, and that's what they're leaning towards anyway at Ocho. And again, the scientists are saying, "Listen, we don't. This is early. Everything is early because this is still so new, but our early studies are starting to show that, and that would be huge if that many more people have had it than we thought did. That's major, as far as things coming back around." Okay, Curtis, BG says, "Don't bring Braxton to it, Wolverine." um, Igor says, "In the words of Paul Heyman, 3 people died in the house that night. Only one person had the choice behind it. The other 2 didn't have a choice to die. Fuck him." He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And again, I know I make it very well known what can happen with the type of damage that I've taken as well. And because I love my family, I make sure that they know what to do if they see any type of indicators taking place. Devin, before this, nobody wanted to work fast food and jobs like that. But look who's making. That's right. Look who's getting paid now, Devin. That's right. See, I've always had monstrous amounts of respect for anybody that works at anything. Just my take on, like, listen, if you're out there trying to get ahead, and that's all I think as a society we can ask, is that people want to contribute, want to help. That's why when people hear me say I'm against Medicare for all and stuff like that, it's like, oh, you don't care about poor people. No, it's exactly the opposite. I don't have a lot of care for people that don't want to contribute. I think people who work in fast food and are trying to support families and stuff like that, I'll pay taxes all goddamn day long to try and help them out to make sure that they can have their health care and they can be able to feed their families and stuff like that, because they're trying to get by. They're doing what they can. Where I draw the line is when somebody just doesn't want to be involved, somebody doesn't want to contribute, and yet they want everybody else to go to work and show up and do the things for them so they can benefit from it. But yeah, there is no such thing as a job that holds any type of negative, what do I want to say, has a negative aspect to it. If you're working, that's a positive. I don't give a shit what you're doing. Again, working in fast food, digging ditches. I literally have done that. Digging ditches, whatever the case may be. Whatever you do, man, you're out there playing your game and getting shit done. That's the people I have respect for. How old am I? I'm an ancient 58. Stormstar said, "Oh, you're talking to Smog. Okay. Would you do a reaction to Dragon Ball FighterZ dramatic finishes?" Like I say, I'm Dutai. I'm not looking for anything new because I'm way behind on this stuff as far as reactions, the stuff that I want to do now. Igor says you should really react to videos from Inside the Ropes, Curtis. I think they don't strike copyrights. I've seen a couple reaction videos to them. I recommend Heyman's interviews. They're awesome. Again, it would just be a time thing, Igor. And it's like with watching this Dark Side of the Ring, the only time I have a little extra time here or there is right when I go to bed, so I just pop it on TV and watch it there. But as far as time for more reactions, I just don't have it. Michael says, "I work for theme parks and I work for park services, so I clean and do anything and everything. I respect everyone trying to get by." Absolutely. There is no such thing as a job that should be looked down upon or be somehow in society we have levels of respect depending on what you do for a living. Fuck that. Everybody's out there just trying to do the best they can. If you got a job, I have respect for you. Period. Period. Hell, I have a respect for you if you're looking for a job. All that matters is you want to contribute. You want to work to better yourself and your family. And if you're doing that, I got huge respect for that. I don't care who it is or what they do. I'm a Nash mark to begin with, Ma says, but his interview on Fox about Benoit was fucking amazing. I've taken roids and you're going to question me when you haven't touched the fucking things. Fox about Benoit. I just want to make sure I'm taking... And you're going to question me when you haven't... Oh, okay. Yeah, well... I'm not sure what he's saying there, though, Maz. Does he mean... So... Kevin Nash said, I've taken roids and you're going to question me when you haven't touched... I'm not sure what he's alluding to, though. I don't... You know, I see the quote, but I don't know what you mean. Who is he referencing? Tiger King doesn't interest me at all. I see all the hubbub around it and everything, but no, I haven't really gotten into Tiger King. It just didn't interest me. Johnny says the dumbest thing I've heard from M4A people is that if U.S. military members get free healthcare, then everyone should. Yeah, I agree, Johnny. And they'll try and tell you too that, well, yeah, America's already socialist. Look at the military. It's not socialism. It's perks of the job. It's a job. Being in the military is a job, and part of the perks that come along with that are your housing, your food, so on and so forth. When you leave the military, you don't continue to get free housing, food, so on and so forth. But even then, it's because you're doing a job. It's not just given to you for existing. Yeah, which socialism, of course, does. Milag says, you really don't look 58, bald man. Your skin looks at least 15 years younger. I love you, Milag. But you have the eyes of a 300-year-old Sith Lord. Then back. I've always had them, though. That's just the cranial structure of this giant head. Those have always been there. They do get worse when I'm tired, and I am tired today. But it seems like they get darker. But they've always been there since I was young. Ma says the entire interview was based around Benoit having roid rage. Okay, now I'm catching you. And Nash was adamant that he has never seen roid rage that led to a 2-day rage spree. Okay, I got you now. Oh yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, I agree with Kevin Nash on that. And I never took steroids. Been around tons of people that take them, but haven't taken them myself. But you're right. That's not. He didn't kill his family because of roid rage. Did the brain damage have something to do with it? Probably. Almost certainly. But again, you still have to question what I used to do, what he used to do, when you're going to get bludgeoned in the head like that all the time, to not look forward and say, okay, this is what could happen and make plans for it, means that you're kind of a shitty, self-centered person. But you're right, that's not a roid rage. Hey, he didn't kill his family because of steroids. Willie, I pretty much every day I plan on a stream. It just doesn't happen sometimes because other things come up. So as far as tomorrow, there should be. But, you know, I never promise because I don't know for sure. Iron Fury says they found elevated testosterone in his blood, but they also found alcohol and his brain damage was astronomical. Benoit was also too dedicated to the business to the point of obsession. Yeah, he was. And everybody will tell you that. Yeah, absolutely. And that's selfishness. I understand having a passion and being dedicated, but you also have a family to think about too. And I don't think all this stuff just, especially since the brain damage itself is an accumulation. I don't think he just one day snapped. And I think he did nothing about the symptoms he was having. And that's why I don't see him as anything of a victim in this whatsoever. Oh, guys, I lost track of time here. I got to go. I actually have to do, again, we try to go out to the market as little as possible. But today's the day I got to go. Excuse me, so I got to head up there. Hold on. Mine's got one. Depression, alcoholism, brain damage, etc. But roids did it, sure. The whole roid hard-on during the first few weeks was ridiculous. Yeah, that's idiotic, Miles. I agree with you, agree with Nash 100%. That is, it's not even fucking close to a roid rage. I have seen so many roid rages. They're instantaneous, and they're nothing like that. No. And well, I don't have to go into all the details. everybody's aware of why that isn't a steroid rage. Again, I've dealt with them on so many different levels, and I've never known anybody, and I know people that stack the juice like you wouldn't believe, never known anybody to go on a roid rage, nor do I ever remember reading about it, where they went homicidal. You know, you get jacked up and they'll want to fight. And typically before the fight, what my experience is, before the fight even takes place, they come down off the rage. They'll be all jacked up. Oh, fuck you, let's go. And then when the shit starts to hit the fan, they're like, oh, fuck it. I mean, that's just been my experiences with it. So, hey, Skid shows up just as we're saying goodbye. But yes, I do have to go, guys. I gotta hit the store. And then this Yazoo, while I'm at the store, I gotta pick him up. You Yazoo. I got to pick him up Burger King because he wants to try the, what's it called again? The Impossible Whopper. He wants to eat a plant burger. What have I gone wrong? I will tell you this. I will not be eating a plant burger. If I'm eating it, it's between a bun. At one time, it mooed. It walked around on four legs. And yeah, but I got to get out, got to get to the store. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. This was fun talking about this. I'll keep you guys posted in the regular streams when I see more and more episodes of it and let you know what ones I've seen. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. As always, come on, gather in. Let's have some pamfu sticky stuff for everybody. Wrestling sticky stuff. It's got a special kind of a wrestling locker room musk to it today. Sticky stuff for everybody. Musky. Well, bang, okay? Flashly like Buggy. And as always, most importantly, especially when we talk about wrestling, goosh, 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 goosh. Goosh.